Well, man, I'm gonna have to start getting some blood pressure medication. I mean, all these games. I mean, come down to the last minute or two. I mean, it's crazy. There's such a slim margin between teams, and it was another great college basketball game in the AA in front of a terrific crowd. And I can't thank the people that came tonight on a Thursday night at 7 o'clock. The students, I mean, the students just continue to provide such a huge spark, and that energy that the crowd brought, especially in the second half. I mean, it played a big part in that game. And as I said, but as I said last time, I mean, those type of crowds are what allows you to win championships, and you have to have that type of energy in the building. And I thought they really helped us make some of those winning plays, those toughness plays down the stretch that we knew was going to be required in order to win the game. And I thought at Boise made those toughness and those winning plays the last 4 minutes, and really challenged the guys at halftime, knowing that it was basically a tie game, 0-0, and it was going to be the team that came out and made more winning plays and made more toughness plays. And for our guys to really dial in defensively, I think they shot in the second half 40%. I mean, 39 for the game. And the biggest thing was knowing how good they are rebounding wise, to out rebound them for the second game in a row and not to allow them to get an offensive rebound the last 10 minutes of the game. And that was the difference. And for our guys, I mean, I said, just incredible group, collective effort. That's one of the, if not the hottest team in the country. I mean, those guys, I mean, Coach Rice he's instilled a lot of toughness and grit in that group. And, you got to go beat them. And that's you wish every now and then you'd have one where, hey, maybe the other team doesn't show up and, you can go maybe relax a little bit the last 5 minutes of the game, but man, that's just not the case. And that's what you want. I mean, you want to be able to play in a game like that. And those games, they tell you a lot, good and bad. I mean, we're going to learn a lot from that game, but we're going to enjoy it for the next few hours. And then we're right back at it. And the next game is the most important game, and play a very good Fresno State team on Sunday.
Jeff, you're probably not going to admit it, but how much did that mean to you to beat Leon and beat that team?
You know what? I've been gone long enough to where, and I have so much respect for Coach Rice. I mean, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now if it wasn't for him. I mean, for him to give me the freedom to coach like he did. I mean, I would not have been ready to be a head coach, having not ever been a head coach, if I had not, been under him for as long as I was. And so, I owe a lot to him, and it's tough having to play friends. And there's never, it's never good either way, but I do know it's a little bit of a monkey off the back. I kind of had that at Northern Colorado when the first couple of years we struggled to beat Coach Ray, who I'd worked with at Weber State, and we finally kind of got over the hump. And it's just one game. They're still really, really good, and they only got one loss in the league, and they're going to continue to get better, and I'm sure we're going to see them at some point down the road. But it just felt good to win the game. I mean, as a head coach, I mean, you never think you're going to win a game, especially leading up, the day of the game. And somehow, some way, we found a way to win that one.
Hey, Jeff, I know that Graham doesn't lack confidence, but what does a performance like this do for him, putting up 22 in the second half against a defense like Boise's?
It's just, I mean, it goes without saying. I mean, he's a special player. I mean, you're playing against one of the best defensive teams in the country. I mean, coming into this game, I mean, I think if you look at all the numbers, I mean, they're probably at least top 20 in the country. And they got a lot of size. I mean, our Moose is a big body, Milner, and then they start doubling. And, it's fun to see. And it makes my job a lot easier as a coach when, let's just get the ball to him and get the hell out of the way. And that's really pretty much what we did in the second half. Knowing that, we felt like that's kind of where we had the matchup, and, because they're so big, especially at the wing spot. And for Maldo, I mean, Maldo usually doesn't run into a lot of guys his size, but, with those guys, I mean, with Acott, with Key Jab, I mean, We don't necessarily create as many advantages as we normally do with Maldo, but the guys understood the game plan. Once again, on a very short notice. Luckily, we had played that team before, so we had a good idea. And I thought yesterday, our guys, it's February, whatever it is, second or third, and a lot of teams, they don't really want to practice, or they want to go short. And we went for 2 hours yesterday, and I might have also, I could have got myself fired too, because then you get somebody like Graham Maldo, you get somebody hurt, and then it's not such a good idea. But we went for 2 hours and we played a lot of 5-on-5. I just felt like where we were at right now, just going from game to game, and you start worrying about the other team so much, you kind of forget about yourself. And I thought we needed to kind of get our rhythm and timing back offensively. And as you saw tonight, we cut the turnovers way down. We only turned it over 6 times, I think 2 times in the second half. And we knew that was a big point, a big point in terms of emphasis going into the game, that you can't turn it over against these guys. The one time we turned it over in the first half there at the end, it just turns into 2 points. They're elite in transition. And so for us to do a good job of taking care of the ball, and for our guys to put forth that effort, and knowing that there is no days off, and we know there's no days off for the next 45 days, and these guys have embraced that, and they want it, and we'll just continue to keep going at it.
Jeff, obviously Drake's a great 3-point shooter, but tonight and all season, really, he's been really good at rebounding the balls. Has that been a point of emphasis for him, or has he always had that skill?
No, he's really athletic north and south. He's a guy that can really run and jump. He was a triple jumper. And he's, the 10 rebounds, and man, he goes up and got those are college rebounds. Where he was getting those at the rim, and that's what you have to do in a game like that against a team like that. Because now you got Graham, who's trying to, he's in wedge situations with our Moose, trying to keep him off the glass, and so those other guys got to get in. And he got 10 rebounds, but man, he's done over the course of the last, really since we've started conference. What he's done against kind of the other teams, Drake Jeffries. Though that other team's, really good shooter, in what he did tonight on Shavers. You just can't come unglued from him. And he did a really good job of just staying right there with Shavers, knowing that Shavers down the stretch over the last 4 or 5 games, he's made big shot after big shot. And thankfully, we found a way to get him to miss some shots tonight.
Jeff, last game you called Jeremiah Oden kind of the X factor. Tonight, once again, he sparked you guys. Did you think it was going to be his night when he banks one in and then gets a lucky roll there on the next 3?
Yeah, no, that's, I guess, we'll take it. And, when you put in the time and effort like he does, and it's just good for him to see him play with the confidence that he needs to play with, because he's a talent. And, when you're making that transition like he is, to where, he's starting to feel more comfortable on the perimeter in terms of just the timing of things. And he's a really good shooter. And sometimes you just got to tell him, man, you just got to shoot it. And over the course of the last 2 or 3 games, he's really shot the ball well. And that just, puts a bind on the other teams, because a lot of times now you got teams, you think they can help off of him. Now he starts hitting threes. And I think over the last, 2 or 3 games, he's probably shooting 75-80% from the 3. It just makes us that much harder to guard. And it just goes back to our depth. To have guys like him, and, you just don't know what night, a certain guy can make shots. And we knew tonight was not going to be a night where we were going to be able to make a lot of threes. They do a terrific job of defending the 3-point line. We knew that. And so you saw like Drake, it was hard for Drake, X, Wenzel. It's tough for those guys to find shots. But when we did, luckily the guys that maybe they were thinking, maybe the guys they wanted to shoot, made them pay. And that's what you got to do to win games like that. Other guys got to step up and play.
Yeah, I know it's hard to do at this time of the year when you guys are still have a lot in front of you. But when you think back to where you inherited this program, less than 2 years ago, and the work you guys had to do and all these challenging circumstances, pandemic and everything, how proud are you to have 2 games like this week, where you bring fans out like you do, you perform the way you do on a big stage? Like, what do these 2 games mean for you guys?
Well, it's not these 2 games. Over the course of just the season, you don't put yourself in this position unless you take care of business come November and December. And these guys, as I said, my coaching staff did a tremendous job under mean, hopefully once in a lifetime situation from in terms of recruiting amongst COVID, having to try to figure out things amongst COVID, basically bringing an entire new team. And, but, you know, we really focus on character and recruiting and focus on guys that come from winning programs and focus on guys that are about the team and want to sacrifice. And when you get a group of guys like that, that are all rowing in the same direction, you can accomplish special things. But, you know, these last two games, I mean, yeah, I mean, is it nice to see? And yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. It's whether it's Hastings College, whether it's Utah Valley, I don't care. I mean, just got to find a way to win the game, but to be able to do that with the crowd, to get the crowd back, because I said, that's a big part of us moving forward is having that crowd and having that home court advantage and knowing that that still exists in college basketball where there's so many places that it's hard for them to get fans, and then to have the fans that we have that, you know, come from far and wide. I mean, and to have I haven't met very many, you know, U.S. senators in my lifetime, but to have, you know, Senator Simpson come up after the game and to be able to meet him and just to see the pride that people have in the brown and gold, it makes it a special place. And it's good for our guys. I mean, our guys, they put forth a lot of time and effort, and for them to come out when you do put the right product on the floor and for them to be rewarded with that type of environment and crowd, it just makes those guys want to continue to work and get better. Thanks, guys.